Several studies show women are more prone to having Alzheimer's disease. Research suggests this is because of changes in the brain that happen after menopause. Today, our guest will tell us how it is possible to heal and protect the brain without drugs. He is a pioneer in the fields of aging, Alzheimer's disease, and other neurodegenerative diseases. Please welcome neurologist and neuropathologist Dr. Patricio Reyes. Good morning, Dr. Reyes, and welcome to Solar Daybreak.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess I'll start first with, is it really true that we women are more prone to Alzheimer's, especially after menopause?
Probably the word prone is pretty hard.
Pretty
but
hard.
there's no question that several studies have shown that Alzheimer's disease is more common in women. But the fact is that there are more older women than men. So, but we, in terms of susceptibility or vulnerability, we really don't know. Now, we ourselves, and I personally was involved in some studies in the past where we thought that estrogen, because women lose their estrogen after menopause, was a culprit.
But it's not.
But it's not. There's no evidence that menopause is associated with increased incidence of Alzheimer's disease and that estrogen prevents Alzheimer's disease in women. As a matter of fact, there are some risks when you take estrogen, and you know, if you have a tendency to produce blood clots, that's a contraindication, or there is a strong family history of cancer, particularly of the reproductive systems, breast, uterus, cervix, then you have to be careful because you could increase that susceptibility to cancer. So,
going back to the function of the brain, I mean, you've done many research, pioneering research, particularly on aging and other degenerative conditions. When you talk about these things, doctor, I heard something about brain plasticity, wherein the brain is actually not stagnant, it's constantly changing due to many factors. And is that why you're also saying that it can affect all these other diseases like Alzheimer's, for example?
Yes, Amy. As a matter of fact, this is a program that we developed. Actually, Dr. Mike Merschnick from University of California, San Francisco, and I are working on, but he is the pioneer on this. Neuroplasticity just means the capability of the brain to remodel itself, to produce more brain cells and more synapses that allow brain cells to communicate. Now, these cells are lost as we become older. They're lost in Alzheimer's disease, in strokes, Parkinson's disease. So I happen to be one of the pioneers also in developing the first and the third medicine for Alzheimer's disease in the world. And the problem with those medicines is that they're expensive, they're side effects. So our goal here is to develop something that's safe, effective, and within the reach of the common man. So this program that we have developed is computer-based. So there's no drug, there's no toxicity, and the cost is quite reasonable.
So you're saying, Doc, that it's not true, the old belief that as you grow older, your brain cells are dead and you have no hope. It's downhill from there.
That's true. We have debunked that theory. And we now have shown that during the human lifespan, the brain is plastic. It's not hardwired. You can rewire the brain, but you have to expose the brain to the right environment. And that's very important for us, both for lay people and members of the medical and scientific community, to understand that it's not just drugs. So, we now have evidence that you can rewire the brain, make and produce more brain cells. In the past, we were taught in medical school that that's what you said, that the brain is hardwired. Once you're born, after a certain period of time, you can no longer produce brain cells, and the connections are wired, and you cannot change. Now, those theories are debunked. We now have evidence that you can produce more brain cells, provided you expose the brain to the right stimulus and the right environment.
So what is this right stimulus and the right environment?
And that's a great question, because this program that we have developed is computer-based, it's directed towards different pathways in the brain to help the brain repair itself, stimulate the brain so that there are more brain cells that are produced. And just imagine that our brain, and this is how I explain to my patients and their families, that the brain is made up of different highways. And so when one highway, for instance, NLEX, there's a major traffic accident. So people cannot drive through. So what do? We take the side road, go around it, and still go to Baguio. All right? And that's what we do.
So you can create like new roads in your brain, new pathways, new connections.
Yes, because the remaining brain cells, we can make them grow back and produce more synapses and take over the function that was lost.
Oh, so mental stimulation?
Yes, these are all what we call cognitive exercises.
Like 1 + 1 = 2?
Well, we have, for instance, we know I have patients whose problem is speaking.
Yes.
They want to say something, but they cannot find the right word. So that's more of a speech problem. So we then emphasize the importance of this exercise that helps speech. So by a certain period of time, the patient is able to speak again, or at least improve his speech or her speech. And that's what we do, without drugs.
So with this new technology, Dr. Reyes, that's how you were able to see as well that it can help with the neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's.
That's another a very good question, because we also found out that it not only improves the symptoms of mild or moderate Alzheimer's disease, but it makes the brain resilient or resistant. So what we want to emphasize is that for normal individuals, as we speak, this is probably the best preventive measure, because when we get a little older, the risk for developing Alzheimer's disease increases from 10% to age 65 to almost 50% when we reach 85. By doing this, we may be able to increase the resistance of the brain to these diseases. So executives or people in leadership position, we don't want to lose them because their brain degenerates. So with this, we can make their brain function much stronger and resistant.
And apart from this stimulation, I understand that the proper healthy lifestyle can actually also help minimize that risk. And then you particularly talked about the food that you eat, the whatever that you intake, that your body takes, has an effect on those brain cells, on whether they go away or they multiply.
Yes, Amy. And again, that's a very interesting concept. I have developed, since I have been teaching mostly in the United States, a concept that we are a product of the triangle of life. Genes, lifestyle, and environment. It's a triangle. And genes, we can't do too much because we inherited them. We didn't choose our parents. All right? So, but we can now neutralize some of the ill effects of bad genes. The lifestyle is very important because it is under our control. If we are healthy early on in life, we expect to be healthy later in life, as long as you maintain a good lifestyle. Diet, physical exercise, mental exercise, avoid too much, alcohol. Smoking is bad for us, all of us. Sleep 6 to 8 hours a day. And socialize. Socialization, and we even have data on religion.
That it can stimulate the brain in some parts.
We have data on that.
It's like mental stimulation.
And I will show that tomorrow in the conference, how religion influences brain function.
So there's diet, there's physical and mental exercise, socialize,
sleep,
and get enough sleep.
And then avoid stress. And it's easier said than done, avoiding stress.
But at least, Doc, you're already telling us that we don't have to, we can age gracefully by doing all these things.
And the other thing is environment, Amy. I know in Manila, we really have to be aware of the long-term effects of pollution. We don't realize that every day, every minute of the day, we're exposed to pollutants here. And I think our leaders should be aware of this, because somewhere along the line, with this accumulated pollution,
toxins,
will express its toxicity in terms of disability, morbidity, and mortality.
So, Dr. Reyes, for those who wish to hear more about these breakthrough technology, about how you can improve your brain function, where can they find you?
We're going to have a conference open to the public at the St. Luke's Henry C. Auditorium tomorrow at 2 to 5. And you have to call for registration. But you can go there and then just enroll yourself, but be sure to come early, because we have a limited kind of space. So I hope, because I myself introduced this in the United States, in the United Nations, when I gave a talk last January, and this was very well received. And in Asia, I made sure that we are the first in Asia to have this introduced to the public.
Let's test it here in Asia and see if we can improve our brain function and be somehow like Einstein.
I happen to be on PBS in the United States, and I was one of the 2 guys who were asked to analyze the brain of Albert Einstein on NPR.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity.
So I'm pretty sure he has many pathways and all his synapses are connected. Well, Dr. Reyes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and we do hope we get to test that, that stimulant that can help us be brighter and smarter and
I'll give you a sample, Amy. I brought one for you.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, so you have to tell me, because you have to do it, this exercise is at least 90 minutes a week.
Oh, so I have to do it first 90 minutes a week and then you test me again?
No, probably after about 5 to 7 hours of this.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm amazed.
Okay, I'd love to try that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'd love to try that.
If you come tomorrow, I'll give it to you.
I will do that, Dr. Reyes. Thank you so much again.
Thank you too for inviting
good morning.
me. Okay.
So that's Dr. Patricio Reyes, a prominent neurologist and neuropathologist.